Good evening, YouTube. I always kind of debate whether to address YouTube or BookTube, but BookTube people don't generally watch my videos. It's usually people who don't have BookTube channels who watch my videos. So the people who really watch my videos are not people who are on BookTube, maybe a couple. But most of the people who comment on my videos the last couple of years don't have BookTube channels. But I do thank you for those who do watch these videos, and I thank you for the comments. And the main reason why I'm here is to interact with people who love books and who are just bookworms like I am. Because I've always been into books. Like I've said, I say in my comments all the time, books have been my life since I can remember. I've always been a bookworm. I've always been in used bookstores or libraries or book sales, or it's just, that's all I'm really into. I don't have a reading slump. I'm always reading something, newspapers, online news articles, essays. I'm always reading the Bible. I've been a Christian since 1970, the summer of 1970. I read the Bible almost at least every single day, something about the Bible. My wife and I were both Christians. My wife grew up in the Christian Reformed Church, and she professed her Christian faith when she was 10 years old. And so we're always talking about the Bible. My wife and I were both Christians. We both love the Lord Jesus Christ. And my wife goes to church and goes to women's Bible studies. And so we're always praying and talking about the Bible. And we have the last 40 years of our marriage. So yeah, I'm a bookworm. I mean, to me, if you're a Christian, you are a bookworm. I mean, a Christian, as part of his spirituality, is always reading the Bible, or at least devotional books or Christian books, or doing a Bible study or something. You can't be a Christian and not be reading something. So anyway, so yeah. So as far as in the mornings, I mentioned I've been reading the Reformation commentary on Scripture, Romans 1 through 8. I've been reading that since I got it in the mail. I'm on page 29. I'm on chapter 1, verses 1 through 7 in the Epistle of Romans. So I've been reading those verses. You read in chapter 1 of Romans, verses 1 through 7, which is the greetings. Paul, a bondservant of Jesus Christ, called to be an apostle, separated to the gospel of God, which he promised before through his prophets in the Holy Scriptures, concerning his Son, Jesus Christ, our Lord, who was born of the seed of David, according to the flesh, declared to be the Son of God with power according to the Spirit of holiness by the resurrection from the dead. Through him we have received grace and apostleship for obedience to the faith among all nations for his name, among whom also are the called of Jesus Christ, to all who are in Rome, beloved of God, called to be saints. So that's where I'm at in Romans chapter 1. I'm on verse 7, I think, the last time I read in this commentary. Called to be saints. Called to Christ. Yeah. Salutation to all Christians. So yeah, called to be saints. So yeah, so I've been reading that in the mornings. This is a Friday. I should say what the day is. It's May the 3rd, 2019. It is 9:02 here at night here in West Michigan. It is a Friday night, so this is Friday Night Reads. This is also what I got at thrift stores and at the Book Nook. Yesterday was Thursday, and I had a doctor's appointment with my doctor, and I'm doing fine. There's nothing wrong with me. And after we went to the doctor's appointment around 8:45, I was out by 9:45. We went through a thrift store, and I found these books at this thrift store. I found this book yesterday after the doctor's appointment, The Hours of Catherine of Cheves, Introduction and Commentaries by John Plummer. This is a medieval manuscript. You can see here the manuscript, the medieval manuscript, and then the English translation, or what it's. Let's see. I like medieval manuscripts. I don't know what Catherine, the book of The Hours of Catherine of Cleves. It looks like it's going through the Gospels. Or the Bible. So I got that. It was only 90 cents. Then I picked up at the thrift store after my doctor's appointment, Concise Dictionary of Christianity in America. I have the full edition of this downstairs in the lower level, but this is like an abridged edition of the Dictionary of Christianity in America, and it was only 60 cents. And then I picked up by Emma Donoghue, her novel Life Mask. I collect her writings. She wrote the very famous novel that was made into a movie, The Room. It's kind of water damaged, but I had it from my Emma Donoghue collection, so I got it. And then I picked up a novel. I've never read this writer before. I think it's called The Amalgamation, Polka, a novel by Stephen Wright. This is hailed by the San Francisco Chronicle as a, quote, a bright star in the literary sky, end of quote. Stephen Wright now extends his astonishing accomplishment with a Civil War novel unlike any other. Now, this was written or published in 2006. Born in 1844 in Bionic, upstate New York, Liberty Fish is the son of a fervent abolitionist as well as the grandson of Carolina slaveholders, even more dedicated to their cause. Thus follows a childhood lined with fugitive slaves moving through hidden passageways in the house, his uncle Potter's free soil adventure stories, whose remarkable violence sets the tone of the mounting national crisis, in the inevitable distress that befalls his mother whenever letters arrive from her parents, a conflict that ultimately costs her life and compels liberty in the hopes of reconciling the familial disunion to escape first into the cauldron of war and then to a Balaam more disturbing still. Rich in characters, both heartbreaking and blood-curdling, comic and horrific, the Amalgamation Polka is shot through with politics and dreams, and it captures great swaths of American experience from the village to metropolis to plantation, from the Erie Canal to the Bahamas, from bloody Kansas to the fulfillment of killing fields. Yet for all the brutality and tragedy, that this novel is exuberant in the telling and wide compassion, brimming with the language, manners, and hopes and fears of its time. All of this so transformed by Stephen Wright's imaginative compass that places and events previously familiar are rendered new and strange, terrifying and stirring, instantly revelatory, constantly memorizing. This is the work of a major writer at the top of his form. Now, I never heard of this writer, but the description of this novel kind of fascinating. It sounds like a 19th century historical fiction. I like the cover. It's a perfect edition. It doesn't even look like it was read. So I got those yesterday at a thrift store. The Life Mask by Alma Donahue. And then I picked Concise Dictionary of Christianity in America. And then I picked up this, it looks like a medieval manuscript kind of book. The Hours of Catherine of Cleves. So, yeah, and so today, no, what's today? Today's Friday. So at the Book Nook, today on Fridays, I volunteer at the Book Nook, and I picked these books up. The first book I picked up at the Book Nook today was The Ballad of Dorothy Wordsworth, A Life. This is a biography by Frances Wilson. Now, Frances Wilson, she wrote this book I bought last year. I haven't read it. No, this came out in 2016. Guilty Things, A Life of Thomas de Quincey. Now, from what I've read in here, Thomas de Quincey, who was a friend of Williams Wordsworth, the very famous romantic poet Williams Wordsworth. He was friends with Coleridge, and he was also friends with Thomas de Quincey. Thomas de Quincey wrote A Life of Dorothy Wordsworth. They were kind of like in the same circles. So Frances Wilson wrote this biography on Thomas de Quincey, who is very famous for his book Confessions of an English Opium Eater. I have another edition. I got this. Thomas de Quincey, Confessions of an English Opium Eater and Other Writings. So she wrote both of these biographies, and so I look forward to reading these. I haven't read this one, and I might get around to reading this. Also, Dorothy Wordsworth is famous for her Grasmere journals, where she writes about her brother, who was William Wordsworth, and she writes about Coleridge and De Quincey and all those poets and people at that time period. This was published in around the early 1800s. Yeah, December 1801. So, December 1802. So I was really excited to get this. This is The Ballad of Dorothy Wordsworth, A Life by Frances Wilson. She wrote Guilty Things also, A Life of Thomas Quincy by Frances Wilson. So, keep these together. I also got at the Book Nook today, at the Library Used Bookstore, The Doomsday Machine, Confessions of a Nuclear War Planner by Daniel Ellsberg. He wrote the memoir of Vietnam and the Pentagon Papers. As you all know, I'm really into the 60s. I'm into American history, and this looked really interesting. It says here, in 1961, Daniel Ellsberg, a consultant to the Department of Defense and the White House, drafted Secretary Robert McNamara's plans for nuclear war. Later, he leaked the Pentagon Papers. He lectures and writes on the dangers of nuclear era and the need for whistleblowers. A senior fellow of the Nuclear Age Peace Foundation, Ellsberg is the author of Secrets and the subject of the Oscar-nominated documentary The Most Dangerous Man in America. He is also a key figure in Steven Spielberg's upcoming film about the Pentagon Papers, The Post, scheduled to be released in December 2017. He lives in California with his wife, Patricia. So I got that. And then I picked up this book. I have this already. This is Death in the Afternoon by Ernest Hemingway. This is his, it's kind of like nonfiction on when he lived in Spain and he went to the bullfights. And he writes about that whole thing about. I have this already, but mine's a beat up, falling apart paperback, and this was it's more together. This is the vintage Hemingway, Death in the Afternoon, and then I picked up this book at the Book Nook today when I volunteer. The Age of Radiance, The Epic Rise and Dramatic Fall of the Atomic Era by Craig Nelson. He wrote the book Rocket Men. And then this book kind of interests me. It was only, I think it was $1.50 or $2. China's Wings, The War, Intrigue, Romance, and Adventure in the Middle Kingdom During the Golden Age of Flight by Gregory Crouch. I kind of like reading about China, reading about aviation, and reading about what was going on in China there before the around 1931 nationalist China. So those are things I picked up at the Book Nook today. And I also picked up this magazine I never heard of at the Book Nook. It's called Lapham's Quarterly. It's like, it's hard to explain what this is, but it's, this issue deals with trade, global trade, the history of trade. It's a history of ideas about trade, and I don't know, it's only 50 cents, and I was reading this at the Book Nook today, the Lapham's Quarterly, volumes 12, number 2, spring of 2019, trade. And as far as what I've been reading, besides the Reformation commentary on Romans 1 through 8, I read at the Book Nook today, The Light Years, a memoir by Chris Rush. I've been reading in the evenings French Exit, a novel by Patrick DeWitt. Reading essays by Bret, Easton, Ellis, Wright. And I've been reading today T.C. Boyle's new novel, historical fiction on Timothy Leary and the psychedelic movement, Outside Looking In, a novel. So I've been reading these. I kind of read these one after another. I read for about an hour The Light Years by Chris Rush, and then I'll read for an hour French Exit, a novel by Patrick DeWitt, and then I'll read some T.C. Boyle, Outside Looking In, and then I'll read Bret Easton Ellis. Also, I've been reading Only America's Burn in Hell, a satire on American politics, American life, in the 2019 by Jarett, Kobek. I'm really enjoying all 4 of these, or all 5 of these books. They kind of all fit together. They all have the same kind of atmosphere and kind of focus in what they talk about. American life, American politics, American media, Trump, the presidency, the state of the insanity going on in America. All these books kind of deal with the same thing. This is kind of different, but So you can read all these books and just kind of like reading one big book together. So, but I'm enjoying them. So that's what I've been reading. That's what I got at the Book Nook as far as used books and added to our library. What I got at thrift stores yesterday. Now tomorrow, today's a Friday. Like I said, it is May the 3rd. It's a Friday. Tomorrow's a Saturday. It's supposed to be sunny. I'll probably go to thrift stores, look for used books to add to our library. I don't have anything coming in the mail. Oh, I forgot. I did get 2 DVDs. I got 2 DVDs at the Book Nook today. Now, once in a while, I go through the DVDs and I'll buy something. And I got Birdman, the movie. I'm going to watch this tonight. I really like Michael Keaton. And I got this. This is one of my favorite. I have this on VHS. The Last Waltz. The finest of all rock movies. Now, this is when this movie came out in 1976. Okay, it started. It says here in the back, it started as a concert. It became a celebration. Joined an unparalleled lineup of rock superstars. Now I know that some people who are watching this video don't know who these people are, but to me, these are kind of people were music artists that I grew up with, especially when I was in high school and in my 20s. Legendary rock superstars as they celebrate the band. You know, you have Bob Dylan and the band. Now this is when the band was dissolving or breaking up, and they had this farewell performance in San Francisco. This was directed by Martin Scorsese, who, he directed Raging Bull, The Goodfellas. The Last Waltz is not only the most beautiful rock film ever made, quoting the New Yorker, it's one of the most important culture events of the last 2 decades, the Rolling Stone. So on this rock concert, the farewell concert, when the band was, I suppose, no longer going to be a band, you have the band, Bob Dylan, Eric Clapton, Neil Young, Joni Mitchell, Van Morrison, Neil Diamond, Emmylou Harris, Muddy Waters, The Staples, Ringo Starr, Ron Wood, Dr. John, Paul Butterfield, and Ronnie Hawkins. So this is my favorite rock movies or concert films. So I got these 2 today at the Book Nook. As far as my diary, tomorrow is May 4th, 2019. I ended today on page, for the year 2019, I ended on page 389. We're on the 5th month. I mean, we got, 7 more months to go before the end of this year? I should hit over 400 pages for the year 2019 this month. So yeah, I'm really enjoying reading French Exit by Patrick DeWitt. I'm really enjoying The Light Years, the memoir by Chris Rush. I'm enjoying T.C. Boyle's historical novel on Timothy Leary and the early 60s psychedelic movement, Outside Looking In. I'm enjoying Easton Ellis's commentary on American popular culture and politics, White. I'm also enjoying Jarett Kobek's satire on American life in 2019, Only Americans Burn in Hell. So I do recommend these. Don't buy them at retail bookstores. Check them out at the library. Look for used book sales. So, but I am enjoying these. And I am really getting blessed in the morning in my morning devotions, reading Romans 1 through 8, Reformation commentary. hearing the gospel, the glory of God, the glory of Christ, the wonder of salvation. And so, yeah. So I hope you're having a good week. Well, this is the end of the week. This is the Friday reads. Hope you have a good weekend. My wife is working Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I might make a video tomorrow, but I don't really know. So yeah, I'm doing okay. Like I said, my physical, I'm doing fine. I'm having a good reading experience. Well, I'm always reading. I don't really judge a book by 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, 4 star, 5 star. To me, I just read, and so that's what I do. Reading, I enjoy the activity of reading. But yeah, so now it is 9:23 at night here on a Friday in West Michigan. And I'll sign off. Thank you for the comments. Hope you're all doing well. I am a human being. I do have flesh and blood. I do normal things. Sometimes I think that people look at making videos as being on TV. Hey, I'm just filming my reality as a Christian bookworm. I look at my videos as part of my online diary, Crooked Fingers, that I have in LiveJournal. I put all my online videos in my online diary. It's just another dimension of my getting myself out there into the world, into the wasteland. But I'm rambling, so I'll sign off. Have a good weekend. Until next time, bye.